Asked her to be honest about what they had done, and she swore that they had just chatted all afternoon and that they were just friends. I told her I was uncomfortable with a lot of things that have happened, but she tried to reassure me. I noticed later that the smartwatch was gone, but I didn't mention this to Sam. Since then, there have been no phone calls or messages while I was around, and Sam seemed extra loving and attentive. She rarely brought up Jane, but last night she mentioned that she was going to a concert with Jane on Saturday, then would crash at her place. I said I wasn't comfortable with this and offered to pick her up instead. She got angry and said that I was acting controlling and crazy, then went to bed. We haven't spoken since, but am I overreacting here? Should I try to stop her from staying over on Saturday? I think I trust Sam, but something is telling me that her relationship with Jane is not just as friends. Should I snoop? Update: I decided I needed some firm proof that Sam was cheating before I confronted her. When I got home from work, Sam had made dinner as normal and sat with me while I ate. I acted normally with her and she caught me off guard by apologizing for her behavior the night before. She asked if I was still willing to pick her up or she would even try to find someone selling a ticket if I wanted to come along. I asked her to try to find a ticket and she seemed happy. The rest of the night was normal, and after we went to bed, I couldn't sleep. Around 1 a.m., Sam was sound asleep, so I grabbed her phone and went to the bathroom. I unlocked it, we know each other's passcodes, and braced myself. I knew they texted each other on WhatsApp, so I started by trying to find any other messaging apps. I checked everywhere and used the trick someone recommended of looking at the battery usage to see the most used apps. I didn't find anything. Sam is not into social media and doesn't use Instagram, Snapchat, etc. I also checked her browser history, emails, photos, call logs, deleted items, etc. and couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. I decided to check WhatsApp next and open the chat with Jane. I found hundreds of messages, sometimes up to 50 per day between them. Around 99% of them were completely normal, talking about TV shows, books, music, recipes, family, day-to-day life, etc. The other 1% that might be a bit suspect included: Jane would often bring up spicy parts of books and TV shows and want to talk about it. This happened regularly, and Sam would engage but not in too much detail. One conversation about sex that Jane initiated came from a book scene. She was complaining that her husband is submissive and got quite explicit. Sam shared a bit too much about our sex life but nothing outrageous, and she was very complimentary about me. Jane replied she was jealous in a joking way with some emojis. Jane casually mentioned that she had a friend over a few times when Sam asked what she was up to. Sam's replies were always like, have fun. Jane would complain about her husband a lot and ask about our relationship. Again, Sam was complimentary and didn't say anything particularly negative about me. Jane sent Sam a link to a seg toy asking for her opinion. Sam replied, "Oh yeah, we have one of those, it's great." No nudes or anything were pointing towards them having had seg. Nothing had been deleted. I checked some of the chats with her other friends, and they were very similar. What was most concerning was the way Jane texted Sam. She would always initiate the conversation and follow up 3 to 4 times until Sam responded. She would then start calling if she didn't respond. There were also a few messages where Jane's tone changed when Sam wouldn't reply. She would become less friendly and cold. Also, when Jane asked Sam to do something together, there was always a subtle guilt trip added, like she didn't want to go alone because of social anxiety. She was scared of being home by herself, etc. The messages/calls slowed down in the last few weeks because they were both complaining about being busy and Jane had been out of town. Even though I didn't find the smoking gun I was looking for, it's clear that Jane and her weird husband are bad news for our marriage. We will have a come to Jesus conversation tonight where I will get the truth, because Sam is a terrible liar. If nothing more has happened, I will make it clear that divorce is still on the table if these creeps are not permanently and immediately removed from our lives. Final update: Sam came home on Friday and we sat down to talk after dinner. This was not a big showdown but just a normal conversation that lasted many hours. Here is a summary. Sam originally loved spending time with Jane, but it became too intense and weird for her a few months ago. She feels Jane is too needy and controlling but didn't want to lose her only close friend in this city. Sam knows that Jane has a crush on her but made it clear that she was happily married and straight. She should have told me about this but knew that I wouldn't be okay with it. Nothing physical happened between them. Jane tried to initiate physical contact playfully and made suggestive comments about Sam, her body, etc. Sam shut this down. Sam told me that she wanted to cut down contact with Jane and focus more on our relationship and spending time with a new friend she has made. As for my concerns, here is Sam's explanation. Jane's attitude towards me: apparently she doesn't like most men and treats her husband terribly. The flustered/awkward situation when I came home from golf, Jane was showing Sam some spicy scenes from a new TV show. They didn't realize we were coming back early and switched the TV off as we entered the door. The watch: Jane was going to borrow a dress for a wedding and went into our bedroom to try some on. Sam assumed she took it off, and when she saw it, she put it in her bag to give it back to her later. Sam's reaction when I asked her not to crash at Jane's apartment: apparently Jane had planned a girls' night after, and Sam thought she would get angry if she cancelled. I also told Sam that I snooped on her phone. She was initially angry but understood why I did it and forgave me. We both apologized to each other and went to bed. I managed to get a ticket for the concert and went with Sam and Jane last night. Jane made some thinly veiled comments/jokes about me being their chaperone, etc., but I laughed it off. We met another couple there and I ended up hanging out with the other husband while the ladies danced, etc. Long story short, we are good. I trust my wife, and we had a long conversation about boundaries, etc.